J. Paul Geyer, PERA. This is Asphalt Concrete Pavement Recycling. Contents Introduction 1. 2. Surface recycling on pavement. 3. Recycled cold mix asphalt concrete. 4. Recycled hot mix asphalt concrete. The publication is adapted to unified facility criteria. United States government with the public UHR public domain have authorized unlimited distribution are not copyrighted. Figures table the equation for the publication made at any time is a little difficult to read, but they are the best available. Do not purchase this publication if the limitations are unacceptable to you. Introduction. Purpose to discover the publication contained with the guidance of the prepared plan with the specification ensure for the quality of recycled bituminous concrete with addition with the manual provide with the useful information, design guidance, engineers, laboratory personnel, inspector concerned with the mix design, plant production, laydown of the recycled pavement mixtures, emphasis of the airfield and pavements. However, the concept also applies to other pavements, recycling and pavement development. Recycled pavement materials have proved to be feasible with the provide with the rehabilitate worn out pavement. Since the recycled pavements will not also always be cost effective recycling, it should be considered when repairing or rehabilitates existing pavements. They use the recycled materials to pave the maintenance of the rehabilitation has increased the following reasons. Environmental. Prior to the inception of recycling technique with the destruction of the old pavement consists of the removal of the stockpiling and the deposing of the old pavement materials, removing the pavement materials with the available materials eliminates and disposable problem. Material cost. The last several decades, the public has recognized that there is not unlimited supply of the natural material. The amount of the asphalt highly quality aggregated available to construction limited to the fact that along with the inflated economy has been substituted and increased the cost of the payment of materials, thus encouraged the use of the recycled material with the rising cost of fuel and equipment required to haul asphalt aggregated the job site has encouraged recycling, especially as the haul distance becomes longer. 1, 2, 3. Technology and equipment. They increased the interest of the receiving the payment to have brought about the development of technology and equipment. The recycling result of the overall reduction of the cost of the recycled materials are used. There still exists problems that are peculiar to recycling have with the number of the complexity of these problems have been reduced significantly in the years. 1, 3. Bituminous pavement of recycling. Bituminous pavement of recycling methods can be divided in the following 3 categories: for the recycling, cold mixing recycling, hot mixing recycling. Table 1.1 lists the advantages and disadvantages of various methods. Many of the types of the distresses can be corrected by one of the 3 pavement and recycling methods in figure 1.1. Surface recycling. Surface recycling, heat planer, scarifying, cold miner, rejuvenating method of surface recycling used to unscrew, skid resistance, increase permeability with the air and water, improve the properties of the asphalt bind with it depending on the process used. The surface recycling may be modified at the top 1/4 to 1/2 inch of pavement. However, the surface recycling does not increase the strength of the pavement. The cost of scarefully rejuvenating the pavement is approximately the same as the cost of the additional 1-inch overlay, with both of the benefits of the additional 1 inch of the overlay usually exceed the benefits obtained with the scarification and rejuvenation. Cold mixing recycling. Cold mixing recycling is a process that reclaims most of all of the existing pavement. Bituminous pavement is breaking in a maximum particle size of 1 to 1.5 inches. Mixing with the virgin materials needed with the using its mixture of the pavement material. Cold recycling can be used to surface the secondary roads if they unsealed with the supply on the base course of the high quality pavements. Hot mix recycling. Hot mix recycling is a process that involves removing the existing asphalt concrete, crushing it as necessary, and making it into a hot mix plant. Next new aggregated asphalt recycling agent. Required hot mix recycled asphalt can be designed for use in all type pavements. Crushed Portland cement concrete has also been used and aggregated for hot recycled mixtures. And it shows table 1 with your aggregated and your advantages, disadvantages to the pavement recycling methods. Shows pavement distress. Surface recycling, severity level of the rejuvenation, the heater, planer, fryer, cold milling, cold mixing, recycling, hot mixing, recycling, seal cracks, removal, and replace subsurface, surface seal, and overlay. Pavement distress. Figure 1.2 method of repair guide for Portland cement concrete rehabilitation. 1.4 Portland cement concrete recycling. Portland cement concrete recycling involves the reclaiming existing Portland cement concrete pavement, the destruction of the crushing, and then produced the construction aggregate for the use. Table 1.1 lists the advantage and disadvantage of Portland cement concrete recycling. The construction aggregate can be used with the Portland concrete cement pavement and Eco-Concrete, a cement tree space aggregated basis. Figure 1.2 present types of distress that may be corrected. Portland cement concrete recycling. Other repair methods are shown in comparison purpose. Alright, 2. Surface recycling and pavement. The general of the pavement is structurally sound with the rehabilitation, even the concrete surface the problem. The surface recycling should be considered the 3 surface recycling processes discussed in the following paragraphs: rejuvenating, heater, planing, overlaying, cold milling. Basic procedures surface recycling are shown in flow chart figure 2.1. Evaluating existing pavement is ready for the pavement and for recycling. The rejuvenator uses test area to determine the rate. They apply rejuvenator to determine corrective coverage rate. Use sand blot existing rejuvenator roll 1-2 days after application. And then the heater plane overlay, heater plane and level the applied rejuvenator is necessary. Overlay with layer new old hot mix compact to desired density end. Cold milling surface determine the desired speed with a cold milling machine. Mill area with the desired depth. If necessary, fog seal surface. Figure 2.1 shows surface recycling flow chart. 2.2 equipment. The major piece of the equipment that requires the surface relaying technique with a conventional asphalt, disphalt, distributor revenue rejuvenator, heater planer with a motor grade with a self-contained heater planer, boom, paver broom trucks, front end loader with a heater plan, overlaying pavement, the milling machine, broom, and trucks and cold machine. 2.3 rejuvenating application. Chemical rejuvenator provides penetration chemical to bituminous pavement. The plasticize of the binder with the rejuvenates can be sprayed directly on the surface of the bituminous pavement as shown figure 2.2. They can be used in conjunction with heater planer and scarify with cold milling recycled processes. 2.3.1 properties of the rejuvenator. Some of the properties of rejuvenators are described below. The application of the rejuvenator with the bituminous pavement partially restore the original asphalt properties. However, the rejuvenator is successful. Most penetrate the pavement and surface into the asphalt rejuvenator with the weather conditions, permeability with the pavement and surface. 2. When the rejuvenator is applied with the pavement image for the asphalt binder, oxidized matured, the loss of the surface signs reduce the formation of the additional craft of the application. Rejuvenator will also reduce skid resistant pavements for up to 1 year with the reduction of skid resistance shall not be significant part of the aprons of taxiways that may be significant for runways other areas with high aircraft speed that are likely to occur with you. The cause shouldn't be sure they have full-time person on the job who experience apply with rejuvenator. 3. A rejuvenator should not be applied with the bituminous pavement having excess of the binder over the surface of such found in the slurry, seal, porous, friction course, or bituminous surface treatment in which excessive binder is on surface of the rejuvenator, soft binder on the cover of the surface to become tacky and slick. 4. The amount of air voids of the bituminous pavement mixture being rejuvenated should be at least 5% of the ensure the proper penetration of the rejuvenator into the pavement. However, the voids are less than 5% of the rejuvenator may fill the voids and thus cover the unstable mix. 5. Care must be used selecting rejuvenators. Some of the rejuvenators perform satisfactory, but do not. The rejuvenator selected should have the proven the record of the satisfactory performance. However, the performance data of the particular rejuvenator are not available. The rejuvenator should be applied with the test area of the pavement and evaluated on some period of time to determine the potential performance. 6. Is desirable to change the properties of the asphalt with the tax approximately the percentage of inches of the material asphalt cement and approach of the original property of the test results are shown with the viscosity that is more effective to determine the change of the asphalt properties of the penetration test. Although application of a small amount of rejuvenator will be reflected by viscosity test, the penetration test may indicate very little or no change to asphalt property. 7. Rejuvenator should be applied with a hot weather above 70 degrees Fahrenheit so that the rejuvenator will penetrate more deeply when the asphalt pavement will occur sooner. Application rejuvenators. When applying rejuvenator, the following must be concerned with the asphalt distributor of the key with the piece of the equipment used to apply with the asphalt rejuvenator, essentially with the distributor with the proper operation condition. When rejuvenator is applied, to ensure the rate of application in uniform figure 2. 2. Show the distributor properly applied with the rejuvenator asphalt concrete pavement and inspection of the distributor should ensure that the distributor circulating tank so that the rejuvenator can thoroughly mix with the prior to spraying the motor's proper running condition so that it does not misfire with accelerating curve of the various rate of the rejuvenator to be applied. The side of the spray nozzle selected with a smooth and consistent spray obtained over the range of the desired application rate. That all spray with the same size with it set with the same angle with the spray bar. Spray bar is correct height to provide either double or triple overlap. The application rate is checked with a very proper calibration. 2. Before the rejuvenator is applied with the pavement, several test sections should be constructed with the rejuvenator should be applied with the section various rates. Determine the proper application rate. The general application rate should not exceed that which for the rejuvenator to penetrate the pavement in 24 hours. The amount of rejuvenator needed to properly modify with the asphalt binder may not be the same amount with the penetrate of the asphalt pavement. The determinations made with the test section should dictate the amount of rejuvenator with the penetrate of the asphalt pavement, and the amount should never be exceeded. But the benefit will be obtained with applying maximum rate with the penetrate pavement. When rejuvenator is applied with a pavement, clean, dry sand should be available to blot out the areas receiving the too much, but rejuvenator sand shall be evenly spread over the areas of the broom into the pile, and remove the rolling of the pavement and surface of 1 to 2 days after rejuvenator is applied. It may help to knead and to close hairline cracks. 2-4 heat planning scarifying. Heat planning consists of the heating of the surface of the bituminous concrete pavement, the planning of the surface to the desired grade. In recent years, cold milling operations has essentially replaced heater planning and airfield work. Planning operation. Planing operation may require one or more of the passive equipment that would be obtained with the desired depth of the cut. The equipment used for the plane with the pavement vary considerably. Some of the equipment is shown in Figure 2-3 with the shelf will contain so that one piece of the equipment can heat with the plane with the scarified added the binder and hot that makes the other equipment is not self-contained. In fact, other often planing and scarifying are done with several pieces of the equipment such as the heater which can heat with the scarifier and a planer with the usually motor grid. The distributor add a binder material laydown machine. A heat planer will scarify the teeth of the valve by the grader as shown in Figure 2-4. Usually with a planing scarifier requires several passes made with the necessary for the plane the pavement for the desired depth of the scarification. Plane with the pavement to reheat is scarified with the depth of 3/4 to 1 inch. Some of the planers use with the direct flame heat the pavement the surface, the others use with the radiant heat with the heater. And Figure 2-4 use with the direct flame with the heat with the heater. And Figure 2-3 use with the radiant heat. Planning pavement caution should be used with the planning and existing pavement the desired grade, but since the planning operation usually consists of removing the heated material with the design grade, experienced operator is required 2 or 3 passes of the heater planer may be necessary in some areas to obtain the desired grade. Alright, that shows picture. Figure 2-2 shows the asphalt distributor applying rejuvenator, which isn't really much of a picture. 2-4-4 remove material. The removed material can be used while hot, provided with a low quality bituminous mixture with a low quality mix acceptable to kerosene and other solvents. Often the mix with remove the material with the form cold mix that can be stockpiled. Often the quality material removed is so small that it's impractical to use the plain material. Although once the material cools and hardens, it's difficult to reuse. Alright, Figure 2-3 shows self-contained heater planer. Figure 2-4 shows the heat by scarifying teeth by the grater. Alright, 2-4-5 scarifying process with the scarifying of the pavement, the surface prior to overlay with the minimize some of the existing pavement, the problem of the bonding of the pavement, the surface that have become the polish for the period of time, years of action of the traffic. In this case, the surface can be scarified with the promote with a good bond between the existing polish surface destiny is obtained. Scarifying, rejuvenating, compacting the surface without with addition with the overlay may cover the excess with the corrugate with the aggregate within the surface of the course with the aggregate makes scarified material with difficult to compact and result in the surface with it tends to ravel with the scarified rejuvenating compacting procedure that should only be used to improve the surface of the mixture on the secondary roads. 2-4-6 overlay approach to overlay in conjunction with scarifying on the pavement is the recommended overlay may be added with the prior to compaction of the scarified material. Both laid in compact simultaneously with the scarified material may be packed with the prior addition of the overlay to ensure the better bonding with a better overall density. Recommended to overlaw be placed with immediately scarifying surface to an inch of the depth of the material with the compact. Although the scarification overlay approach has been used on airfields, generally other alternatives should be selected. Asphalt sample of the scarified the rejuvenated material shall show the improvement of the properties of the existing asphalt property. General, the penetration recovered asphalt binder should be 40 to 70. Amount of the binder material that added should not cover the voids of the compacted mixture that become overfilled with the create unstable the mixture to determine the mixture of the unstable. Simple the mixture should be determined with the compacted 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Even the standard compaction after for the job of the voids of the compacted the sample of less than 3% of the mixture should be considered unstable with this amount of the rejuvenator should be reduced. 2-4-8 pollution covered by smoke with the heating of the asphalt surface may be the problem with the amount of the smoke can usually control with the susceptible range with the most asphalt mixture with the heating of the pavement that numerous sealed cracks will present problems since for the sealer material used to cover the increase of the amount of smoke during the heating operation. Alright, Figure 2-5 shows the pavement of cold milling machine. 2-5 cold milling process. The milling process which does not heat with the UV is milled with the bituminous Portland cement of the concrete pavement with the desired depth of the milling. And the equipment can be removed with up to 4-minute inch of the bituminous mixture within one path of the UV, the sense of the flow with the steering line grade reference, slope control, with the direct control of the finished grade with the Figure 2-5. So with no heat with the need with the pollution, the problem caused by the burning bitumen is eliminated. However, the problem of the dust may occur, but the problem can be usually solved by spraying a small amount of water onto the pavement in the front of the machine. Milling machine can be used during all weather conditions to produce a smoother grade. Cutting teeth. The cutting teeth on the milling machine with a high maintenance of the item that must be replaced off of the teeth must be 1 to 2 days, depending on the hardness of the material milling and the number of the operation hour per day. The cutting teeth may be adjusted by a range of the surface of the texture from the smooth to the very rough. The one end of the teeth, the position, furnished surface of the texture of the smooth, the remove of the some of the teeth, the steel surface texture that can be rougher than the males, mild surface of the eve of the writing, surface of the rougher, surface of the texture provided with a better skid resistance. Have the rougher surface also causes more tire wear. Milling versus heater planing. The reason for the milling are similar to those of the heater planing. The milling can be removed with the bituminous and Portland cement of the concrete pavement, the bridge of the receive of the maximum dead load. Also, the areas adjacent to the curbs and manhole of the other structures can be milled before and overlaid. Applied with the overlay thickness can be maintained adjacent to these structures. One advantage of the pavement, the milling machine has over the heat planer is the ability to remove the Portland cement with the concrete pavement. The particular advantage when milling and moving that has been Portland cement along with the bituminous material that have been planned to remove the source areas adjacent to the manholes and patches. Most extensive use of the milling machine and recycling with the recycling removed materials can be mixed with a new aggregated new asphalt to produce recycled cold mix and recycled hot mix. Milled surfaces. Occasionally, with the pavement surface that has been milled with the surface used with the riding surface a period of time. For instance, the pavement that does not have adequate skid resistance and not immediate funds available to overlay with the pavement. An alternative to the milled surface to give it this rough surface of texture thereby an adequate skid resistance unit can be overlaid. Otherwise, repair with excessive amount of material should not be removed. The pavement structure will be weakened and recommended with the pavement overlaid as soon as the miling is possible. Raveling may become a problem. Asphalt concrete pavements for the milling process on airfields. Raveling could result with a foreign object damage to the aircraft, thereby overlaying should be applied with immediately after the milling operation must contain milled material. Material obtained from the milling operation can be used for the pavement and construction of the milled material. The community stockpile care must be the extra step of the not to stockpile is due to the high, especially the hot weather, since the asphalt with concrete material will tend to bond with the making it difficult to use. In most cases, the material should not be stockpiled over 10 feet. The milled material can be used producing recycled cold mix, recycled hot mix, other mixture of the occasionally milled material can be used for the surface secondary roads, otherwise would not be surfaced. In this case, some of the additional binder material for the asphalt emulsion with the rejuvenator used to rejuvenate old asphalt, improve the binding quality of the mix. Milled material mixed with the asphalt emulsions can also be used with the base course of the high-quality pavement. The materials mixed and played with the removed and play mixed with the produced the satisfactory base course of the high-quality airfield pavement. The base course should be overlaid. Minimum amount of asphalt concrete mixture required to design gradation. The gradation milled material obtained with the milling with the operation important with the material is to produce the recycled cold and hot mixtures. Well, the material is to be used with the recycled cold mix. The mix on the side of the milled material with the conglomeration of the aggregated asphalt should not exceed 1 1/2 inch. However, the small amount of the material, 1 1/2 inches, is acceptable. That can be removed the screen prior to mixing, generally with the milled material without additional virginal aggregated used to produce recycled cold mix. 2. When milled material is used with recycled hot mix with gradation, milled material extraction of the asphalt cements is important. Very little breakdown of the aggregate should occur during the milling operation. It's important that the maximum size of the material will not exceed 1 1/2 inch to 2 inches to ensure that it will break up the satisfactory mixture. New materials production recycle the hot mix. Some of the filler material passing the number 200 sleeve of the manufactured during the milling operation, depending on the aggregated type. 1 to 3% of the addition filler being manufactured. One of the problems is design recycle the mixture of the not exceed the maximum amount of the fill are allowed. Generally, new aggregates that are added to the recycled mixture are required a little or no filler. Therefore, washing new aggregates is often required. Remove filler product prior to reducing some mixture. Alright, 325, the base course. The asphalt pavement material that is removed down with the base course should be taken to prevent the damage of the base course. Aim of the damaged base course should be corrected prior to the placing of the recycled mixture. Generally, approximately 1/2 inch of the asphalt mixture should be left in place to prevent damaged base course with the milling equipment or by rain. Alright, 3. Recycled cold mix asphalt concrete. Generally, the pavement is deteriorated with the point of the thickness of the conventional overlay required with the satisfactorily provide with a solution problem that would economically prohibit the existing grade of the use of the recycled cold mix should be considered the recycled cold mix involved with the reuse of the existing pavement structure, reprocessing and adding of the binder without use of the heat of the binder. Usually with the Portland cement asphalt, the discussion is the use of the asphalt of the binder, recycled cold mix in conjunction with the hot mix overlay can often be with repair existing pavement at a lower cost with the conventional overlay with the basic process shown. Take a low chart, figure 3.1. Equipment. The equipment required with the pavement removal of the crushing is either the conventional equipment, the ripping of the crushing, with a cold machine with the mixing with the place of the mixing implant with the gravel plant, central plant, conventional pave with the required equipment that include with the distributor truck with the brooms and rollers for the front end, loaders for the 3-3 pavement, the design structure of the design pavement of the pavement of the recycled cold mix asphalt should be the same with the asphalt, the stabilized material. The recycled cold mix should provide with a structure whose performance is equal to the asphalt stabilized material with the mixture design of the recycled cold mix asphalt with the concrete is important with the ensure of the proper material with the proper proportion, obtain maximum field density with the new when no new aggregates are to be added with the reclaimed material, the mix design should be performed with the reclaimed materials to recover the maximum size of the particle with the reclaimed asphalt from the aggregate should not exceed the requirement, which is usually 1.5 inches of the new aggregate are to be added with the design should be performed over the desired mixture reclaimed aggregate with the new aggregate. Should evaluating existing pavement ready the pavement recycling with the removing the placement with the cold welding machine with the remove the pavement using ripper crusher the desired practices. And then it splits again into the additional and added mixes laid down, compact, apply the tack coat, and transport center pool added and add additives and add mix and lay down compact, apply the tack out and overlay with the top mix. Mix design. Developing the mix design accomplishes two objectives. A. Determine the amount of the new binder rejuvenator required with the durable, with the stable, the mixture. B. With the fixed amount of the moisture with the need to provide the maximum density. Rejuvenator. Rejuvenator can be used with the place with the new asphalt. Some of the inches of the old asphalt properly through blending of the rejuvenator oxidizer atmosphere asphalt. So immediately occur with the mixing recycled cold mix. In fact, the rejuvenator initially coats the old asphalt at the time, probably months will, but the penetration of the old asphalt bind with the produce, they improve the bind with during the first few months of the recycled cold mix, maybe the unstable mix of the film rejuvenated around with the oxidized asphalt aggregated with the rejuvenator penetrated with the old asphalt 9-bar material becomes the homogeneous recycled cold mix should be performed satisfactorily because of the initial instability, increase the cost of the created rejuvenator asphalt emulsions are used in recycled cold mix. Asphalt content. With the amount of the new asphalt needed with the recycled cold mix, the able to determine the conducting the conventional hot mix. The design of the recovered aggregate with the laboratory may be density with the design, obtained with the hot mix design approximately equal to the maximum density with the obtained with the field under the traffic. Amount of asphalt added should be varied with 0.5% of the increment to 0%. High side optimum asphalt content sample should be compact with the required effort, either 50 blows with low pressure tires or 70 blows with a high pressure tire with the determination should be made with the density stable of the fluid voids total with a mixture of voids with the asphalt with the determination should be plotted curves around with the select over the asphalt content. Optimum additional asphalt will do often between 0 to 1% of the optimum additional asphalt will be selected 0% and no additional asphalt should be added in since it may cause the mixture to become unstable. No asphalt is needed. Only water should be added to lubricate the mixture so the need the density that can be obtained in the field. Compact sample. The optimum asphalt content should be determined. The sample should be made with the optimum asphalt content with varied water content. These samples should be compact with the room temperature. With the same compaction effort with the determine the optimum asphalt content. Next, for the dry density, each of the contacted packed samples shall be determined at moisture density curve that should be applied with the moisture content. Provided with the maximum dry density should be selected with the optimum moisture content. All right, and then it shows the pavement ripper attached with the bulldozer. Old asphalt crushing, concrete crushing. Alright, removal, 3.5, removal of the in-place material. With the material to be used with the recycle with the cold mix with the remove of the in-place with the material with the number of the method. 2 with the more common method to identify the milling machine with the U with the remove of the existing material with the milling machine with the U with the existing asphalt pushing pavement can be removed with the any of the desired depth generally with the particle side with the remove of the material satisfactory. No further crushing with the necessary with another pursuit with the remove of the pavement involved with the ripper 2 with the remove of the asphalt. Concrete figure 3.2 when the ripper tube with the U with the asphalt concrete removed with the full depth sense there is no way to control the depth of the material moved. When the asphalt concrete is removed by the ripping, it must be further broken down by the crushing it in place with the pulverizer or other equipment be carried by the figure 3.3. The method of use of the significant amount of the base repair with required with the old pavement being removed with the consideration should be given the drainage of the air to prevent unnecessary delays caused by rain exposed surface. Should be used to slope the promote good drains and outlet for the other means to prevent ponding of the water. Construction. After the asphalt has been broken down with the desired particles of the mixture with the asphalt with the stabilized water and play with the central pan when the mixture in place mixture produces a travel plant less grain for the material produced with the central pan control of the quality is not as good with either type of the plant with except along with the contractor demonstrated with the material means specification requirements can be produced to meet the specification requirement. The contractor must be able to control the amount of the additional asphalt with the water as well as the mixing time. Recycled cold mix. The recycled cold mix should be played for the desire of the grade compact with the minimum density requirement of the layer thickness. It should not be less than 2 inches of the compact compact with no greater than 4 inch compact in order to ensure the satisfactory density of the tame with the vibrator roll with the pneumatic roller should be available. The pneumatic tire roll should weigh with at least 20 tons to be capable of the tire inflation. Pressure is at least 90 pounds per square inch. Density, since it is difficult to establish laboratory density for the comparison, final density of the theoretical maximum density should be established field with the maximum requirement. The density requirement theoretical maximum density is the density of the air would be 0 air voids in the mixture. At least 86% of the theoretical maximum density should be attained in the field to ensure the voids on the field mixture are not excessive. Alright, 363 cure time. Each layer of the recycled coal mix should be allowed the time to cure prior to the overlay of the time, and even it depends on the menu of the such things as air, temperature, wide type, asphalt, the layer, thickness, humidity. As general rule, each of the recycled coal mix should also be allowed to cure for the 10 days before overlaid. Field density measure. For the field density should determine the cores removed the in place with the pavement. Some of the mix with the difficulty for the time the undamaged cores within prior to the occurring of the gold mix with the few days of the cores cannot be obtained in the 24 hours of the pavement. The other methods of obtaining the sample should be considered. Financial ice plate with the chain lab locations 1 to 2 hours prior to the coring. Samples of coal material reduce the damage caused by the heat development during the coring operation. Another approach is to use the concrete solve the cut small cubes of the pavement. The nuclear density gauge of the can be used to obtain the indication of the density, but actual samples should be taken to determine acceptability of the density in the place mixture. Alright, 4. Recycled hot mix asphalt concrete. General recycled hot mix asphalt concrete should be considered the alternative at any time with the conventional overlay reconstruction. Anticipated recycling will create greater saving the material with the cost for the total job cost of the conventional overlay with reconstruction on many jobs. Performance of recycled hot mix shall be considered the equivalent to expect with the conventional hot mix. With the recycled hot mix can be used for the construction bitumen space for the intermediate with the surface courses. Equipment required for the pavement to remove the crushing will include the conventional equipment, the piping, the crushing, and the cold milling machine, a patch drum plant, and a design modified mix for real recycle the material. They also require the placement of the conventional pavement of the truck from the front end loader with the asphalt distributor is required. 4. The recycling hot mixture. For the recycling hot mixture consists of the removing the existing pavement, the crushing of the reclaimed mix for the necessary for the mixing, the reclaim the mix for the virgin aggregate, the virgin asphalt recycling adjunct, placing recycle the mix for the same procedure for as done with the conventional mix figure 4.1. Alright, and then we're going to turn this table real quick. Show the evaluating existing pavement, the ready pavement, the first cycle, the remove of the AC with the using the old mill machine, with the remove of the AC, using the ripper and crushing with the particle side, and then it splits in the central drum mixing plant, which has the added new aggregated the add additives, and then the central mixing plant add new aggregated additives, and then additional unconventional conventional lay down and compact. And then we're going to flip it right back. Alright, 4.4, removal of the sizing. The asphalt concrete pavement should be removed with a cold machine with a ripper tube for the crush for the cold machine. If the self-propelled power-operated planing machine capable of removing one half of the layer of the bituminous material up to 12 feet wide with 2 to 4 inches of the deep of the equipment should be capable of existing grade control with the reference of the existing pavement. From the independent grade of the control should have the positive meaning with the controlling transverse slope of the elevation of the equipment should have the effective meaning with the preventing dust from the operation for the shaping of the air. The middle material should be path with the 2-inch C with the teeth of the cutting drum that must be satisfactory condition all the times of the prevent shear of the off the chunks. Asphalt concrete creating overall practice for this particle of the rough surface of the oversized particle of the present they should be removed with the screening. 4.5 virgin aggregates are added with the recycled hot mix with the number of the reasons. Pollution control with the addition of the new aggregated air pollution for the during the new mix production. Most plans would exceed the allowable level with the addition of the new aggregated shield used to prevent the flame from having in direct contact with the reclaimed asphalt pavement that causes the burning asphalt reclaimed asphalt pavement, which means over the air pollution hot recycling gradation of the aggregate with the existing mix of the improved the adding of the virgin aggregate with the many type of existing pavement that do not contain the desired aggregation gradation that do contain the satisfactory gradation and may be changed during the mill and crushing operation. Therefore, additional new aggregate allowed with the gradation of the recycled mill is to modify with the acceptable range. Aggregated quality. Many times the quality of the aggregated the existing mix of the not acceptable, even though the gradation is fair and satisfactory. One of the poor quality with the aggregated blend with the use of the excessive amount of the natural rounded sand with the poor aggregated with the asphalt concrete, but because of the abundance for the low cost, often use the excess of the asphalt concrete mixtures. Addition of the new high quality aggregate can reduce the percentage of the rounded sand and the mixture for the improve the overall quality of the mix. The amount of the natural sand added the recycled mixture should not exceed 15% of the new aggregated for the airfields. Excess filler material. They accept the existing asphalt concrete pavement is generally constructed with the amount of the filler material passing number 200 C with the near above the maximum allowed specification. Amount of the filler reclaimed mixture most often vary between 18 to 12%. 8 to 12%, where maximum amount of the filler is allowed with the 6% during the milling crushing operation. Approximately 1 to 3% additional fillers will be manufactured. Thus, in order to control the amount of the filler with the new aggregates, must be limited to very little, no filler. Virgin aggregates may have been washed to minimize the amount of filler material. In addition, the percent of the virgin aggregated with the recycled mixture may have to be adjusted to help control the filler content. Asphalt binder. The asphalt binder existing pavement that usually oxidize requires some of the modification during recycling to produce acceptable asphalt binder mixture with a new aggregate is added to mix additional asphalt recycling agent needed to produce satisfactory asphalt cement properties may result of the mixture with the two reach the asphalt content cement contact existing pavement the mixture with the generally near the optimum asphalt content hints with additional more asphalt with cement the recycling agent may result in acceptable asphalt content with existing asphalt binders not modified low viscosity asphalt recycling agent brittle mixture will be produced. Mix design. The mix design is conducted to determine the percentage of the reclaimed asphalt mixture with the new aggregate. The recycling agent asphalt cement with the BU the mixture amount of the recycled mixture. U the recycled mixture is usually based on the amount of the reclaimed materials available. The desired physical property of the recycled material requirements of the aggregated degradation, economic conservation type of the asphalt plan. The drum mixture with the prepared with the recycled the asphalt mixing with a maximum of 70% of the reclaimed mixture. However, in order to ensure the quality of the mixture and control the amount of the reclaimed asphalt concrete production, recycled the hot mixture not exceed 60%. Modified batch with the recycled mixture, the maximum amount of the recycled material that could be a mixture with generally varies between 50 and 60%. Because of the 40 and 50%, new superheated aggregated is need only obtained. Serve the heat train with the reclaimed asphalt pavement, the material with the solution, the selection elevation criteria for the new and old aggregate is the same as the old new hot mixes. Percentage of the aggregate. The first step of the mixture design will determine the percentage of the new aggregate with the required reclaimed asphalt concrete should be the amount of the reclaimed asphalt concrete, particularly practically recycled, determined, discussed above the gradation extracted, reclaimed asphalt gradation, new aggregations are determined the percentage of the aggregates to be with the recycled mixture, then selected the blended gradation of all aggregates, include the aggregated with reclaimed asphalt concrete meets the specification requirements. Type of the binder. The second step will determine the type of the binder recycling agent and use the mixture of recycling agent used to require modify the oxidized asphalt binder with the penetration of the old asphalt binder is more than 10% of the amount of the reclaimed asphalt concrete. Use the recycled mixture of the 50% of the existing asphalt binder usually modified with the asphalt cement such as AC 2.5 or ASTM D3381. In this case, no recycling agent would be needed. The amount of reclaimed asphalt concrete would be used to mix exceed 50% of the penetration existing asphalt binder less than 10%. Recycling agent generally needed for many jobs. That will be necessary to use the asphalt cement recycling agent properly modified existing asphalt with optimum asphalt content. 4 of 6, 3. Preparation. The first step consists of preparing recycled material with various asphalt contents 0.5 and 1%. Recycling agent be used. The following data should be applied with each of the recycling agent content being evaluated. 1. The density versus the additional asphalt content. The stability versus additional asphalt content. The flow versus additional asphalt content. Voids of the total mix versus additional asphalt content. 5 voids filled with the asphalt versus additional asphalt content. The graph's exemption stability would take the same shape of the develop of the conducting mixing the design of the eventual hot mix asphalt concrete. Plus stability of the versus additional asphalt content generally indicate the highest stability of 0% and additional asphalt with reduction stability as asphalt content is increased. The optimum asphalt content should be determined the average asphalt content speak of the density curve, mild of the voids and total mixture requirement of the mild of the voids filled with the asphalt requirements of void, total mixed voids filled with the asphalt stability flow area of the same as the conventional hot mix asphalt country mixture of the optimum asphalt content recycled agent content should be prepared with asphalt recovered from these mixtures. The preparation recovered about the asphalt should be minimum of 60% of the desired original asphalt penetration area of the mixture of the BU. The amount of recycling agent should be selected. So for the recovered asphalt penetration, maybe the desired limit is important that the penetration recovered covered asphalt shall be measured during the plant production adjustment made if necessary proper asphalt consistency. 4-7 recycling hot mix control quality control. Most recycled asphalt concrete is produced in the drum mixture designed modified to produce with recycled mixture. Modified batch plants have also been used to successfully produce recycled hot mix. And then we're going to turn this picture. Alright, this shows the recycling of the hot mix production in the drum mixture of the new aggregated radiation shield reclaimed asphalt complete new bitumen injection recycling agent if needed. Then we're going to flip it back over. Or 471 with the drum mixture. The drum mixture, you have the recycling new gag with the high shift of the drum near the flame, the aggregated absorb the heat from the burner with the touch for the ash, shield with the protect with the reclaimed asphalt with the new asphalt bind with the recycling agent, reclaimed asphalt concrete, add with the drum near the midpoint file with the recycling agent, new asphalt with the flight inside with the drum shipped in good condition, and over the view with the new aggregate with the properly protected asphalt material with the heat dam with the final recycle the mixture generally heat with between 260 and 990 degrees Fahrenheit per with the mixture that can be compacted to meet the density of the requirement solution sometime with the problem, but with the generally mixture is designed to modify the lower percent of reclaimed asphalt pavement to bring the solution with acceptable range. Batch plant. Batch plants have also been modified to recycle the mixture with the reduced in figure 4.3 with the modification consists of the adding of the feeder conveyor with the conveyor carrying the reclaimed asphalt pavement directly with the weight bucket with the new aggregate with the path of the dryer, usually superheated between 500 and 600 degrees Fahrenheit. For the materials are blended, resolve with the temperature suitable with the mixing compaction, increase with the amount of the reclaimed asphalt concrete as the mixture would require increase with the new aggregated temperature. Also, the additional moisture for the new aggregated required asphalt pavement the stockpiles require the additional heat. Therefore, to save energy, both stockpiles should be kept as dry as possible. Alright, show the new aggregated, fine aggregated, medium aggregated, coarse aggregated, reclaimed asphalt, the weight of the hopper, bitumen, recycled agent if needed, plug mill, storage silo for recycled mill, and then show the truck and recycling hot mix production of the batch plant. 473. Stockpiling. Prior to production of the recycled asphalt concrete, the stockpile of the reclaimed material should be inspected to ensure that there's no significant segregation from the material of the bone. Many of the pavement have patched during the live, causing variation in the type of the material of the various locations of the pavement. Therefore, material should be removed from the pavement of the stockpile in such a way should prior mixing with the localized material of the other reclaimed material of the will asphalt pavement and remove the two lift the property of the material with the top lift property of the area with the property of the material and the bottom lift. In this case, the material should be stockpiled separately with some of the acceptable procedure for the blending of these materials be used. Cold feeds. In order to remove all the material larger than 2 inches of the screen should be placed within the bin in the cold feeder from which the reclaimed materials will be fed to the plane of the core conglomerations of the asphalt aggregated with exceed with the side of it will not break down enough the asphalt plane with the produce the homogeneous mixture constantly the oversized piece of the may cause the problem with plugging and tearing of the mat during the laydown operation. Concrete test, control testing. During the production of the recycled asphalt concrete, a number of the tests can be conducted to ensure the satisfactory product is tested. The test will evaluate the recycled mixture. The same test evaluate conventional hot mix. Test evaluate the material properties such as the inertial stability, flow, the laboratory density, and voids of the toil material. Wells filled with the aggregate radiation, asphalt with the content, temperature of the fill, density, and the penetration of the required asphalt content is another property for the need to evaluate the recycled mixture during production. 4.8. Lay down recycled hot mixture. There should be no difference between the lay down recycled hot mixture, lay down conventional hot mix. The recycled mixture will appear with a little more oily, which is probably due to the recycled agent, but this condition is normal. 4.9. Excessive reclaimed asphalt pavement. All excess reclaimed asphalt pavement should be stockpiled with youth. The government projects and the ownership of the successfully reclaimed asphalt pavement. The transfer of the contract credit should be given to the government for its value. And that was the reading of your J. Paul Geyer asphalt concrete pavement recycling. Testing.